Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing? As usual, we'll wait for some people to get on here. Don't want to get too much into it because I hate having to repeat myself. This really isn't a live I want to repeat myself on, to be honest with you. Shouldn't have to even say it once. But we'll get into that in a minute. How's that? I should have put on the title, Trolls Encouraged, because this is your platform. It's time for you to get off whatever you got on your chest, and let's throw it out there in the ring. How's that?
Let's dive into it.
Arthur, how you doing? Cam, how you doing here?
Hey, Pam.
Christine, Pam. Tell you what, I messed my wrist up pretty good.
And this is why I cannot let him outside the truck without supervision.
I
Just
dropped
saying.
the tire in between I got my hand caught between the tire and the rim, and yeah, it didn't feel good.
Kelsey says, good evening, Trucker G and Mrs. G. Good evening, huh?
Good evening. Good
Christine
evening.
says, hey, G's.
How you
Arthur says,
doing?
LOL. Lindsay said, good evening, G's.
Robin says, hope y'all are feeling better. No, I'm not feeling very good, and I really don't even have to do this video, to be honest with you.
We did get a little bit of a nap in, which I'm thankful for that. Dr. Pepper Drinker says, can I say booties? LOL.
Colleen says, Mrs. G, you look beautiful with your hair up.
Oh, thank you. It really shows off my gray.
Trish, how you doing, Doreen?
It sparkles.
Was me, at least I don't. Oh, it went too quick for me.
Boy Mom says, oh Lord, Mr. G, hopefully it will be okay. I don't think it's broken. I do think he bruised the tissue because it has swelled some. So it doesn't feel
Tough
like
choice
it's out
to
of
watch
place
this
or
one or
anything.
keep an eye on Bunker Hill, Sandy said.
Decisions. Bonnie says, good evening, Mom and Dad and G-Force. Good evening. Hey, Slick. Slick says, hi, brother and sister.
Miss Slick, how you doing,
sweetheart?
sweetheart?
Hey, Trish. Trish says, hey, y'all. How's Robert doing? It's been a while. Doreen says, hey, G's. Well, hello. Charles, thank you for the stars, hun. Star salute. Fat Kid Brody says, damn it, let's set things straight once and for all. LOL, good evening, all. That's how I feel about it, too, Fat Kid Brody. After this, I'm done with it.
It's kind of funny, you know, you got all these trolls going on during the day while we're doing, like, rolling with the G's, and we're just having lighthearted fun, and when you want them
G's
here,
after dark
where
or
they
whatever,
at?
yeah. Steven says, good evening, G's. Glad to see ya. Hope you're feeling better soon, buddy. Thank you, hon. Craig says, hey, good choice on the new steering tire. Yeah. We don't play around when it comes to steers. Nope. Been on that wild ride once myself. I don't know how many times G has went through that. And the one time that I did, it messed up a lot of stuff when that steer tire blew. And mind you, that tire didn't have any holes in it. So don't want to go on that ride again. Karen says, always good to see you. Tire fix, cut this short so you can get well-needed rest.
Wait, you don't want to say this? Is that what you're saying, Karen?
What's well-needed rest? Mama One says, gee, hello again. Well, hello. Pager Susan says, hello, Mrs. G, your hair looks cute up. Well, thank you. Yvonne says, evening, G's and G-Force family. Hey, Yvonne.
Don says, is there a way to block the trolls? Yeah, you're more than welcome to block them, Don. Me personally, I don't block them.
Yeah.
You know, I like to hit them head on.
Y'all know our rules, and everyone.
Every once in a while, you'll run into one that you can actually be rational with.
And technically, they're not a troll. They come in asking questions that are somewhat touchy. But, just like the other day, we had someone on YouTube and, came in asking questions, and we all had a good conversation with the person, and that person decided his opinion of us was completely different after our conversation. So, Michelle Brenda says, it's a school night. The trolls' mommy sent them to bed.
Ashley says, yep, it sucks not being able to block. Yeah.
I know, honey.
I know.
And our mods are awesome because,
they put up with it.
They want to so many times, just flick them off and boot them out, and they put up with us saying, just let it roll unless they break one of our specific rules. And
I guess if they're not going to come on here, let's just go ahead and get into it, because I'm sure they'll hear it and they'll watch it, and they'll do like they usually do, and they'll come back and they'll comment after the video's over. That way they don't get ate up.
John said, okay, I'm set here and YouTube. John's working 2 devices here. he's ready to pounce on either stream.
Cindy says they are at Bunker Hill, not coming here.
Trey says, hey G's, I had to take a break from the idiot squatter squad mental cases and hope y'all would be on. Thank you, God.
Well, maybe you guys ought to let them know that they need to be, if they want to keep talking trash here, now's the time to talk the trash. Let's do it face to face and don't do it behind my back to
Hey Mac.
a video that I did a week ago that I probably ain't going to see the comments for it.
Barbara says, thanks for coming on now. Tired of watching the drama going on right now with the trolls.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of drama here too, and I apologize for it. It's not something that I want to do, but it's something I've got to do.
Cindy says, here are facing off with the live streamers at BH. Darlene Weaver says, watching 3 devices, you, Oreo, and Ant. Well, you've got quite the evening planned then. Well, let's get into it because I'm ready to get into it and get over with it.
How do I start this out? You guys know the last few days there's been a lot of comments, and we've glossed over them, and Miss G got mad at a few comments. We never did read them. But I'm just going to tell you what the comments were. You know, you got the counter protesters over there at Bunker Hill, and they say that they're fighting for child predators, fighting against child predators. That's exactly what they're there for, fighting against child predators. Ain't no child predator at Bunker Hill. I showed up to Bunker Hill, there wasn't one. Santa did make a mistake. He let a child predator come back. Oh, hold on. It's too hot for that to kick off.
Yeah, that's a scary one that kicks off, y'all. Time out.
Yeah, time out.
Misty, thank you for the stars, hun. Star salute. There we go.
That scared me.
Yeah, it did. Scared me too. Snowflake.
I see the coat pop up
For a second.
All right.
Moment of silence while we hold our breath.
But anyways, he let a child predator come back for a little bit. And do I think it was the right choice? I've said it 100 times. No, I don't think it was the right choice. But it was his choice to make. What my choice to make? Do I agree with them? The reason why they're there? Yeah, I agree with anybody that stands for freedom. And I've said this a million times, and I don't understand why people can't understand that. People who got the mentality, you're either with somebody or against somebody. And it's not always cut and dry like that.
It's not black and white.
You know, I'm not going to agree with every single thought you have.
And
you're not going to agree with every single thought I have. At least I hope not.
No, that's what makes it great. We do have
But we can't agree on a premise. And if you can't agree at all, but you agree with the freedom part of it, and you don't like what they're doing, do something yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're going to fight against child predators, at least make sure there's a child predator there.
Go after the source. And stop coming in the chat and bringing it up and, you know, making someone that has lived that relive it over and over again. That's what, you know.
But that's not really what this is all about. What this is all about, this is kind of a premise to that. Now they're coming on to my channel, and they're coming after my mod. I didn't really want to dive too much into it because I don't like to bring her past back into play, and it should never be brought back into play. She shouldn't be reminded of her past. The past is the past for a reason. I've said it before, and we said it months ago when somebody else
tried to do it.
Tried to do the same thing. She was sex trafficked as a child. As a child was sex trafficked.
And that's not her fault. She was a victim.
And now you're going to come back today, and you're going to make her a victim again. You're going to come back and ask questions like, how much did you charge? When you're sex trafficked, you don't charge nothing. You're enslaved. Enslaved. And you never recover from that.
And frankly, I am sick and tired of people coming on here, individuals, and they know who they are, and they'll know who they are when they catch this on the replay or whatnot, coming into the chat and dropping things like that in there. If that's the only reason you're here, there's no sense in being, you know, coming.
That same mod helped me put away 76 people last year in prison. Child predators. 76 child predators jailed.
Because she has
But
made
you're... Oh, go ahead.
because she has made it her mission in life for no child to go through what she went through.
That was just last year with me. That doesn't include the previous years that she's done this. So you figure just last year, 76 child predators were put in jail. How many children did that save? I can only imagine. How many children didn't get sex trafficked? How many children didn't get molested? How many children didn't get violated? Because those 76 were put in jail. But these guys want to go and counter-protest and call themselves saviors and some
protect
kind of
the children.
and protectors of the children, when they're doing absolutely nothing but yelling at a fence across the road and yelling back and forth with people that aren't even child predators.
Or coming on here with different, screen names because they've already been banned once, because that is a rule of ours. Don't come after, our family.
What I would like to know for that same person that wanted to know what they charged, what kind of sick individual are you to even care?
To even say something like that.
To even have that question come up in your mind. Are you an undercover predator? Maybe we should be watching you a little closer. That's what I'm wondering. We met Armand, and I'm not going to name her name, and you guys all know who it is. We met her 3 years ago, isn't it?
It's about that, yeah.
About 3 years ago, two and a half years ago, and I've adopted her as my own.
Mm-hmm.
When we met her, she very rarely even came out of the house. She wouldn't talk to men, didn't trust men. Still has issues with it, but she's getting better. She's come out of her shell a lot since we met her. A lot.
We've seen her grow.
She was very secluded and kept to herself. And we've watched her grow leaps and bounds from the day we met her till now.
She's a sweetheart. She'd do anything for anybody, and she has.
And we've adopted her as our own.
And the thing is, people still have the audacity to continue to keep coming and coming and coming with this BS nonsense. And I've had it. Absolutely had it.
I had somebody else tell me, well, gee, what kind of guy are you to put your child in that kind of situation? Ashley's the one that showed me how to do this. And I wasn't supposed to say her name. Everybody already knows. She's the one that showed me how. She's taught me a lot. We've taught her a lot. We learned together.
Yes.
We've accomplished a lot together. And that's what a family does. Somebody said Baca, trucker, bikers against child abuse. This isn't Baca. Baca's more of a. They don't stop the things from happening. They show up after the things happened. What we try to do is stop it from happening before it even happens.
And Baca is great because they are there with the children.
Yeah, I'm not trying to compare myself.
During everything, and they go to the trials and everything like that with the child. And they're a huge support system for the children that, have had their innocence taken from them.
My mom's had numerous messages sent to her, sickening messages. And it's uncalled for.
Every day, it's one right after the other.
What kind of person are you? I noticed none of those messages are on my page.
No, they send them to her personally. And some of the messages come from people that she's helped. And this is the thanks that she gets and the way she gets treated by those people that she helped.
And what gets me is, now you've got those counter-protesters and the people that are doing this, but then you got the people that watch them and donate to them. You're just as guilty as they are by funding them to do this kind of stuff. You think you're funding somebody that's stopping pedophilia? No, you're not. You're funding somebody that's victimizing a victim.
Over and over again.
On a
daily basis.
If they really cared about pedophiles, they would go after that pedophile that they're talking about. Marcus. We'll just brass tacks. That's who they're talking about.
And don't get it twisted, not the Marcus.
No, the Bandit.
Bandit, yes. Tammy says, these scumbags critters need to be put in their place. For some, that means jail. They've gone way too far. And, you know, I don't understand, and I don't think I'll ever understand why someone would want to come and, you know, continually say ignorant things the way they've been doing and send ignorant messages to her. It's just, it's not right. Brenda says, I myself am a survivor of sexual abuse.
And there's a lot of people out there just like that. And what it does is when they do this kind of stuff, they're just victimizing a victim all over again.
Avon Diaz says, that made me cry. What a bunch of bottom of the shoe scum pieces of shit trash. That's all they are is trash. So sorry you have to deal with that, Ash. Lillian says, they got the scare of their life this evening. 1776 had enough. It was great. Teresa says,
but I noticed they're not here tonight.
Teresa says, exactly, G. People are enabling these lowlifes. They aren't standing up for anything good. Tammy says, I can't put in here what I do to destructive critters. Rita says, the scumbags don't give a crap about Bandit. It's just something they can use to cause trouble. And I agree with you. Because if they cared so much, then why, like we've said repeatedly, and you guys have said repeatedly, why aren't they going after the person that committed the crime? The missus says, I made you chicken pozole. If you're coming east on the 10, I would love to bring it to you if you're stopping anywhere before Beaumont.
Yeah, we won't be going on the 10, so we heard. Those are rolling really quick.
Christy says, they have had enough. 1776 has went even to the store and they followed them. Sorry guys if I missed a lot of comments. I do apologize. Dave says, well, you know, percenters have a way of handling disrespectful people. It's called educate.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you got to re-educate too. What gets me is, you know, with victims, a lot of people go to the police. Why is that? I'm not talking bad about our law enforcement, but people are people. Whether you're law enforcement, whether you're a priest, whether you're a teacher, we've put all the above away in jail. People are people. People can be evil. Trying to figure out how to say this without saying it. She was in a position where she couldn't just go to the authorities. And we'll just leave it at that.
Chef Lady says, it's a shame this crap is still going on since the convoy. Enough is enough. And it is sad that it's going on at all. MM says, those kind of people are why God flooded the earth and why Jesus is coming soon. Amy says, I haven't been on forever. What is going on? You'll have to go back, sweetheart. John says, I just asked if any of them are going to come talk.
Right on.
Jean says, are y'all seeing Joe and the family? No, sweetheart. We're in Ontario and Joe's in Bakersfield. Darlene Chandler says,
it's kind of funny that same people, they'll put my picture up on their video, but yet not say nothing about me, but use my picture as a clickbait. Or they'll come on and they'll talk about me without even knowing the truth. Or they'll go on there and they'll say that I'm a supporter of predators, child predators. And they'll be blasting out over a megaphone. Because I've been setting clips of videos. I see it. And I just don't understand people.
Diana says, that's
Get
right.
off your ass and do something productive. If you really care about child predators, go after the child predator.
Diana says, that's right. They are just as guilty as the ones doing it. Brenda said, exactly, geez.
Matter of fact, I spoke with Lori on the phone because she said she wanted to talk to me one night. So I talked to her, and we had actually a pretty rational conversation. And I told her the exact same thing. Why are you out there making yourself look like an idiot? If you really care about the victims and care about the victims of child predators, why aren't you going after the child predator? Oh, because they harbored a child predator. That child predator ain't there, and you're still there, and you're yelling at them? If you really care about that child predator being there, and you want that child predator gone, why didn't you follow him around? Why didn't you go where he's going? Why did you call the state that he was incarcerated to begin with, and he had to file with? No, they're just looking for views, and they're looking for donations. That's what it boils down to. Views and donations.
Brenda says,
I'm just trying to drive a damn truck.
most of them are not sensitive to predators. They just want to see people being harassed. Chef Lady said, Ant is not mentally well, and Squirrel isn't helping the cause. Well, then if he needs some type of, help, he should seek the help that he needs.
He probably needs to look into drug rehabilitation, to be honest with you. We met them out in California.
I don't remember.
She's the one that was taking money out of...
I thought you were talking about Ann. I remember Squirrel.
Yeah.
She was taking...
No, I never met Ann.
No,
yeah,
never
I might
met
have,
Ann.
but don't remember them if I did.
Robert says, Bennett has been gone for 6 weeks, but yet they still persist there. If they're so...
It's not about him. It's about the views and about the donations about grifting and
That's
getting
the
money
only
off people.
conclusion that we can come to, because if they want to protect the children and they're so hell-bent on, doing what's right and getting child predators locked up, why are they not going after the person that harmed
Believe me,
a
if
child?
you're worried about child predators, there's plenty out there. There is
That's
plenty
sad
out
to
there.
say, but there
we don't
is.
have trouble finding child predators. I hate to say it, but we don't have trouble at all finding them. It's a little harder to get them to incriminate themselves. They know exactly where the
They're
border
smart.
is. Every once in a while, you'll get them to slip, and we got 76 of them to slip last year. But the really good ones know exactly how far they can push the boundaries.
Which means they've done it time and time again.
It means they're very good at what they do. I don't suppose any of you guys know about that there is groups of child predators on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. We didn't know this
A group
either.
just for child predators. And they share information with each other about children. But Facebook ain't banning them.
It's sickening. Charles Lancaster says, I'm 69 and it doesn't go away. But
And
this
it's not
crap
just
sure
one group,
brings
there's
it
more
back.
than one group.
I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Evan Diaz says, they don't care about Predator. It's all the money. Look at first, Lori was kind of normal. She's seen how they made money off. They instantly, and look at her now. Straight up mental case.
Who?
Lori.
Not the first time I met her, but my most memorable experience with Lori is when she told me that she was a professional protester. I didn't know there was such thing as a professional protester. I guess I should have had her elaborate more on it, but in my mind, when you tell me you're a professional protester, that means you get paid to protest, and you'll protest on whatever you get paid to protest about.
So that it's a job and it's not something that you're technically passionate about.
I guess
is
in my
what came
mind,
to
I'm
mind.
kind of right, because she went from this side to this side, because maybe this side was paying a little better. I don't know.
MM says,
That's just me speculating.
all they care about is getting money by any means necessary. They use TPC too. Whoa, that rolled. Sorry about that, guys. Cindy said, so many young kids coming up missing. Yes. And it's sad. Cindy Buck said, just told my son what this is about. He really wants to find these people.
They're out there. But you got to remember, guys, there is a fine line between actually having rock solid evidence on these people. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have rock solid evidence, and there's a thin line between having rock solid evidence and entrapment. And then there's another, it's a whole nother story to get law enforcement to work with you. That's another issue that we have.
Donnie says, hi G's, just joining in. I was watching Jalen and Matt and Oreo giving Ant-Man a taste of his own crap. Heather says, yes, there are 1,000 of them out there. I used to teach and it's crazy amounts. Cindy Cox says, seriously, groups? Yes. Blows your mind, doesn't it? That there's groups on social media that are focused specifically on that.
And they share information about children.
Oh, yeah. Judy says, so sad.
We've had law enforcement actually call us
excuse me,
and ask us to pinpoint missing children, to go through their Facebook records and help find the individuals.
Judy said, so sad. This world is getting worse and worse by the day. And that's what just, stumps me is with their words, they're saying one thing and their actions, they're doing something different. Jason says, I didn't know all that. Thanks for letting me know that. And that's why it's so important when
to know what your children are doing on the internet.
Know what your kids are doing. This was a long time ago.
Know who they're talking to.
And Mook was younger. I think she was, junior high?
Junior high.
And we're very open with our kids. And we do pay attention to what they're doing. And we kept the lines of communication open always with our children. And Mook came to us and told us that, someone was messaging her. And she took her down to the authorities. And they said there was nothing they could do about it. They were trying to get her to meet them somewhere.
I'd like to tell you a story about the last guy that we caught, but I'm going to have to check and see if I'm allowed to say anything yet or not.
Nothing right now.
But I would love to tell you a little more insight on how that went down.
David says, Springfield PD, Greene County, and prosecuting attorney refused to work with 417 predators.
They won't work with them, and the reason why is because OCAC. They only work with OCAC. Okay.
And there are a lot of states in different states with different communities.
We caught a guy in Greene County, and we actually got him in Laclede County, but he was from Greene County. And he was the one guy that I did film because I couldn't get
the authorities to
do anything either because it was in Laclede in Greene County. And I got numerous messages after that video, and that video's gone. Facebook took it down.
Yeah.
Actually, a whole year's worth of content's gone.
And that was one of the
that was one of the videos that's gone. But I had numerous amounts of his victims reach out to me and say, you know what?
He did this
me
to
too. He got me too. He was a janitor at a high school.
But needless to say, because of that video...
He also is his daughter.
Yes. But because of that video, everybody in his community knew exactly who he was and what he had done.
Yes. What I don't like about some of the predator groups is I like what they do, don't get me wrong. I just hope they do it for the right reason, not just for the views.
Cindy Buck says...
Either way, a child predator's off the street or it has been brought to light, so that does my heart good.
Cindy Buck says those groups use code words. Normal people won't know what they are talking about, and you're right.
And yeah, you'll never find it on
only
Facebook because of the name of the group.
Sick people.
It's not child predators or us or something simple, It's something you would never think.
Chef Lady says the 62-year-old would leave nothing but a pile of pulp. Enough said.
I hear you. Believe me, it was everything. It took me everything in my power not to rip this guy's head off, and we'll just leave it at that.
Deal with it ourselves. Yes. Christy says Snapchat is the devil for young teens. Always check your kids' devices, and that's why, like we said, it is so important you know what your children are doing when it comes to being on the internet, because you could think that they're in some innocent group on a social media platform, and they could think the same thing too until someone starts reaching out to them.
We've worked with the military. We've worked with local police departments. We've worked with state police departments. We've worked with the FBI. It's just certain, or quite a few, should I say, that have a contract with a company called OCAC, and they will not work with you, no matter how rock solid your evidence is.
Yep. Misty says, my 14-year-old daughter won't have any social media of any kind. Donna says, I worry about...
I'm not so much against social media, don't get me wrong.
Just watch what your kids
You just really
doing.
have to monitor.
And if you feel like, or your kid feels like you're helicoptering them, or, you know,
it's going to make them want
nosy,
to do it more.
But oh well. Watch what they're doing.
Just got to educate them. Let them know what dangers are out there.
And keep the lines of communication open with your child. Like I said, when Mook was younger, she came right to us about it. Donna says, I worry about our 11-year-old grandchild. It truly frightens me when I think of him starting middle school next week.
Mr. Trent, she says, what is OCAC? It is an organization that actually does the exact same thing we do. They're a corporation, and so they got money behind them.
So they
get the contracts, and the contracts state that the police department will not work with any other individuals.
Yeah.
So they get exclusive rights to where you're only going to catch the child predators that we come up with instead of catching them all. No, you're only going to work with the ones that we do because we're a corporation and it's money to us, and we don't make money. We don't make money off of the ones G brings to you for free.
John says, there are times I wish they would bring back burning at the stake.
I don't charge nothing. OCAC charges a lot. It's a $1 billion corporation, believe me, or at least multi-millions. And they've got the technology that I can't afford to have. I wish I had some of their technology. But we do the best with what we got.
Beth says, Grindr app's really bad. Got a guy called Lorenz, I think, county predator catcher. He snagged over 400 already. Sickening part, few truck drivers, no longer employed, I might add.
Yeah, we've gotten truck drivers also. I mean, I don't care what your line of work is. People are evil. Not everybody, but there's evil. There is evil in everybody.
Lucas says, not to be rude, but lots of kids are sexually assaulted. That's not trafficking. No, but you know, a lot of kids.
But what we started talking about to begin with was somebody that was sexually trafficked, and that's what we're talking about. As far as sexual assault, there's still a victim. A victim is a victim, no matter whether they were sexually trafficked or just assaulted. Either way, they're a victim.
Julie says, I'm sure the game sites are full of predators.
Oh, yeah.
Mona says, God will deal with them. They can't erase it from God. Tammy says, Santa is face-to-face with squirrels and ant right now. They're not liking a taste of their own medicine. Dave says, shout it from the rooftops and save as many as you can. Mary says, think they need to scissor their privates.
Yeah, I can think of a few things.
Vivian says, I wish my kids would. I preach and preach. You know, and the thing is, we've got to
educate our children.
Got to educate our kids, you know. If they're on a social media platform or anything like that, and someone starts messaging them or, you know, talking to them a sort of way, you know, to let them know that's a red flag and that they need to say something. They need to let their parents know what's going on. They need to communicate with each other, child and parent. Cindy Chase says, just a bunch of haters. So glad the G-Force and the G's feeling the love. Chrissy says, PCI, Predator Catchers of Indiana.
Lucas, you can stop now. That's uncalled for. What did Lucas say? Lucas stole it. If it happened so long ago, she needs the help.
If it's still bothering her. I don't think that's something that a victim will ever truly get over, no matter how long ago or how recent it's happened.
Lucas, so, you got to understand when you're getting over it and you're actually doing better, and somebody belittles you because you were victimized, is a whole different thing. Now you're being victimized for being a victim all over again. How do you get help for being victimized for being a victim?
When the person's just trying to live their life.
The person that's victimizing her
is the person that needs the help.
Believe me, she's grown leaps and bounds from when we met her.
Christy says, PCI, Predator Catchers of Indiana. That's the good one. They mainly go around Indiana, but also went to Texas for a severe predator. The missus says, my husband tells me people wake up with evil intentions every day. Makes me so sad. He's right. Eyes wide open all the time with the kids in the back of your head too.
Lucas says, I'm being curious, not mean. Well, when I read your comment right there, it didn't sound mean. It didn't sound mean to me. But you got to understand that a lot of people are in the defense right now too.
Yes, and we shouldn't.
I understand where you're coming from. That if somebody's still hurting from something, they need to seek help. But what you got to understand is she's had help, and she's come a long way from where she was, and nobody gets better overnight. And when you're victimized like that, I don't know if you ever actually fully recover. That memory don't go away. All you can do is get better each and every day.
Jeffrey says, this stuff goes so deep they can hack into baby monitors and Wi-Fi connections. Patricia said, back in the early 50s, I was about 15, I was assaulted, punched in the jaw by a stranger.
What would knowing the whole story do for you? Who are you asking, Ash? Matt Schaefer said, Lucas Dolan, you don't fool me. Lucas, it's not for you to know the whole story. Oh, I guess Lucas is wanting to know the whole story. Lucas, it's not your story to hear. It's not anybody's story to hear. It's whoever's story she wants to hear it. And that's what it boils down to. That's her story to tell. That's her story to tell. She's told me the story because she's felt comfortable enough to open up to me. Believe me, she wouldn't talk to men when I met her.
No, she didn't.
She was very, very leery. She has grown leaps and bounds. I mean, you wouldn't believe me if I told you how bad it was. And I've seen her grow a set. I think she carries her own set of balls in her pocket now.
She is a strong
I didn't know how else to say it, but she's grown a lot, and she'll grow more. I'll push her. I'll keep pushing her.
Patricia said,
I'm pretty good at pushing people, ain't I?
Yes. Back in the early 50s, I was about 15. I was assaulted, punched in the jaw by a stranger. Thank the Lord, because I screamed so loud he ran away. So screamed loud enough to wake up the neighbor.
Ashley says, I've become ornery and dependent.
Independent.
That's not what she said, though. Independent.
No, I know what you meant, sis. You become independent. And I've seen you grow like a flower. And it is awesome. Mook says, just got on. What did I miss?
Nothing, baby.
Angie says, hi G, sorry about what's going on with our children in today's world. I have 4 grandchildren. Love you guys from Hannibal,
Missouri. Our children are in danger.
They are.
And it's sad.
Penny Carpenter Clark says, evil is everywhere. We need to educate our kids how awful people can be. And you're exactly right, because the sad part about it is these sick individuals are using technology to reach out to our children.
You got the people over there at 1776, and then you got the other people over on the other side, whatever you want to call them, rodents. I don't know what you guys call them nowadays. But you got them going back and forth, and you got the Aunt Boy and the other ones saying that, you know, they're there because of child predators, you know. And what gets me is, it's not the child predator that I know of that I worry about. It's the ones that I don't know that I worry about.
Lucas says,
does that make sense?
If you're going to put some out there, you can put it all out there. No,
Lucas, it ain't none of your business.
It's none of your concern. That is the problem. People are butting their 2 cents into what's none of their business, and they're re-victimizing
Lucas,
a
what goes through your mind at night when you masturbate? Let me know. I want to know all about it. What'd you eat for supper last night?
Candy says, you never get over shit like that. My dad did things to us we will never get over.
Yeah, you kind of understand where I'm going there, Lucas. I'm not trying to be a sick individual, but you're asking a sick individual question. You want actual details of a child being
hurt,
victimized? Is that what you're asking for?
Then if that's what you want, then you're not getting that here.
Now you got me worried. Now you got me thinking that I need to be watching you.
Cindy Chase says, how does one also get over that? I have 3 pedos in our family. One just wants to hide. One did pass away. One is still in jail. One, the family dropped charges. Ugh. Whoops, that rolled on me. Hedda says, it never goes away. It takes a lot of work to go from victim to survivor. A trigger can set you back and strength to pull yourself back up. People who don't understand need to educate themselves. And I agree with that. They do need to educate themselves, because asking all these stupid questions is just, you know, it's asinine.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what does it matter? You need details on what happened.
Don Wheeler says,
I just want to know what constitutes as trafficking.
Google it.
Are you trying to find the thin line between going to jail and not going to jail, Lucas? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and teach you how to be a trafficker the legal way, if that's what you're trying to get at. I mean, are you trying to do law case study? Maybe you ought to go to school and become a lawyer if you want law case study.
Don says, I was abused by an uncle when I was growing up, and when I told my parents, they called me a liar. I have forgiven him, but will never forget, and because the family still protects him and does their best to ruin my life, I no longer have anything to do with my family except for my kids and brother.
Sometimes you have to part ways.
I'm so sorry, sweetheart.
It's sad to say, but...
Italian Princess says, Lucas is asking suspicious questions.
Oh, Lucas is trying to, how do I say? Trying to skate on the line of pushing the boundaries, or
trying to say because trafficking is this and abuse is this, that they're 2 separate things.
At the end of the day,
I don't know.
You still have victims.
And
at the end of the day, I don't care if you're trafficked or you're just abused. You're still a victim, and I'm going to stand for either way. For you either way.
Evan Diaz says, my grandfather molested me 40 years ago, and I have never ever got over it. There are daily reminders. Trust anyone. What's trust?
How do I? You've got to be able to trust somebody, because we can't live through this life alone. I mean, we can, but what kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Life.
What kind of life is that? You know, what kind of quality of life is that?
There you go.
To live by yourself, secluded, and you can have others around you and still be secluded. But if you don't let somebody into your heart, you're missing out. You're missing out. I mean, when we let people into our heart, are we going to get hurt? Yeah, a lot of times we are.
Yeah.
Is it worth it when we find that right person that we let in? Yes, absolutely. All that hurt is worth it.
Lucas says, no story here. Well, if you were wanting details and,
Lucas says,
I don't
so
know
how did you escape? None of your business again, Lucas. When she's ready to tell that story, she'll tell that story. But until then, that's her story to tell, man. It's not up to us. Believe me, it went through the court of law. There is cases about it, and you're not going to see the case because it was from when she was a child, and that stuff is covered.
Tammy said some people are so freaking nosy they would want to know how many squares of TP people use. They got no lives of their own. Sad, sad people. John says, tell him to contact me and I'll tell him what the asshole's face and nuts look like before the cops showed up to find his blood and face on my garage floor. Penny Carpenter Clark says, when my daughters told me there are people trying to say pedophilia is normal,
Dorian says, why is he curious? Strange. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Dorian.
George Ortiz says, hello from crazy California.
How you doing? From crazy California. We're right here with you.
Jenna says, my mother knew that my stepdad was molesting me, but did nothing out of fear. Always having to be one step ahead of him was exhausting, but I did it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, sweetheart. That shouldn't happen to no child. Well, it shouldn't happen to anybody, but especially a child.
Michelle says, WTF, does it matter how she got out? Just glad she got out.
Be thankful for all the other ones she's saved. That's what I'm thankful for.
Beverly says, my mother is 97 years old. She was victimized as a 7-year-old child. She still carries that memory with her to this day. Rita said, hi G's, hugs and prayers, much love. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. My mom didn't believe me. It's hard to get over.
Wendy, yeah, I got Lucas's number.
December says, I was abused by my grandfather and stepdad. My teen years were awful, rebellious, and drug use. My relationships were affected. At 58, I am finally at peace and have a wonderful husband. My heart goes out to any individual that has been victimized. And they shouldn't have to relive it on a daily basis because someone decides that they want to ask an ignorant question and make them relive that.
But I am going to tell you because I don't know how many different people we've heard on here already say, I was a victim. I was a victim. I was a victim. Do you realize how many people you just helped by coming out and saying you're not alone? And how many more people that might have the courage to come out themselves and say, you know what? I'm being abused right now. Or I was abused also.
And I know it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage for anyone to say it, acknowledge it, type it, and to let it out. Because I know it's with them on a daily basis. Ashley said absolutely 100.
Sometimes it's just nice to know you're not alone in this world. I mean, we've seen that with just the convoy. I mean, it's not the same. But when you think you're alone in this world, it's a lonely place. It's a lonely place. But when you find out you're not alone, it gives you courage. It gives you strength. It gives you hope.
Wendy says, so many of us have stories. Oh, not all of us have the same courage. And Wendy,
I think we do it deep down inside. Sometimes we just have to dig a little deeper to find it. It's there. You just got to dig a little deeper to find it. Sometimes that courage has been beaten out of you, and not necessarily physically, but mentally. It's been
it chips away at you.
It's been tucked away, and then you don't even realize that you have it.
Berdine says, it was when I was 14 years old.
Sorry to hear that,
So
sweetheart.
sorry, sweetheart. Steve says, and back years ago, the courts would also blame the victim.
Yes.
Lori says, pain never goes away. It destroys you.
You know, back years and years ago, they used to send the victim away just to cover it up.
Like it was their fault.
Like it was their fault. I've heard that story quite a few times.
Whoa, guys. Beth says, I went through something at 15 or at 16. 5 years ago, karma got the person who did it. So sometimes bad things get even in the long run.
Oh, believe me, they all have to answer for it sooner or later.
Cherokee Kid says, I was physically and emotionally abused by my dad while a young boy. My mom left him and took me and my younger brothers, no sisters, with her. But I found out that he was dealing with PTSD.
Yeah, sometimes we all have problems in our life, but we cannot take that out on children. And we cannot rationalize it because of that. That wasn't your fault as a child. That was your dad's fault for not getting the help he needed. But back then, there really wasn't a diagnosis, probably.
Jeannie says, I'm victorious at this point and do what I can to help others.
That's awesome.
Lisa says, a new family of survivors. Angela says, so true. Gee, I take a lot. Love you, same goes to women beaters. I will hide it very well.
You see the conversation that we're having right here? We just did more for the victims in this, how long we've been on for?
I don't know.
Than that group down there in Bunker Hill has done for the past, how many months? Yelling on a megaphone. So you tell me who cares? You tell me, do they really care? The people that are supporting them, what do they really care about? This is how you help people. I'm watching all these people on here and all these comments on here, and the people are coming together.
And unfortunately, they're bonding over a traumatic experience. But you know what? They're bonding. And they realize that, they're not alone. And maybe, now, considering that they have this traumatic experience in common, that they can reach out and talk to one another.
Lucas still
Lucas
going on?
says people should keep better eyes on their kids. What were you doing to get in that situation? Really?
You're going to blame the children, Lucas.
Lucas, I would say good night.
But I will agree
God bless.
I will agree with you one thing. I do agree. People need to keep better eyes on their children, and you're absolutely right there. But the second part of your conversation, your comment, you just blame the victim.
Exactly.
What kind of person are you, Lucas? What's going through your sick mental head? Are you an undercover predator? Should we be watching for you? Sounds like you got a lot of sick and individual twisted ways of thinking. And maybe you're trying to learn how to do it a little better so you don't get caught. Is that what it is? Maybe I'm playing a little bit of therapist here. Maybe you need to lay down on that couch and seek professional help and let me know. I mean, I can give you some numbers.
Oh, guys, I gotta get resituated on Facebook. It bumped me.
But don't let me catch you victimizing a child, Lucas. I guarantee that.
Beverly says, I was a victim as a child by a neighbor, as were my siblings. My parents moved us away from the person. He was a famous artist who died in the late 60s. I got into an abusive relationship 2 times. I found my worth in working with domestic violence to help others. But working sex trafficking victims is so hard.
Lucas for President 2024. I don't know if that was a joke or not, Jay.
Avin Diaz says, "Ah, you got me crying. You two are amazing. I think trust is hard when you can't completely heal. His 20 years of prison didn't heal us. My mom, aunts, and uncles to the grands.
No.
He's dead now. Relief."
No, that time, don't make it go away. What they did is he went to prison and he paid his debt to society. He didn't pay his debt to that victim. And that's what gets me about our law, is they always say, well, he paid his debt to society. He should be free now. What about that victim? That victim never does get set free.
No.
Their mind is never free of what happened to them, that person did to them. But when they get out of jail, we're just supposed to forget about it because he paid his debts to society. But we forget all about the victim. That victim is doing a life sentence. A life sentence without parole. But you're going to let the child abuser out and say he's served his debt to society. He's now a changed person. I say he. It could be he or she.
They.
And they should be able to live in freedom. No. I don't think so. It's the way our laws are. And so I have to say, okay, until laws get changed.
Kim says...
But it don't make that victim
any less of a victim.
It doesn't free the victim.
No. Kim says, I'm so glad I have found this page and got on this live tonight. Thanks, G's, and most of the comments.
Jay and Lucas are trolling together. Well, Jay and Lucas are
Jay
doing
says,
a horrible job.
I have terrible gas and sharded. Well, go change your britches.
Yeah, they're doing a horrible job.
Jillian says, hugs to all victims. CJ says, Lucas, may God have mercy on your soul. You are sick. Linda said, keep your children away from Lucas and people like him. Penny asked, is Lucas maybe a victim? I don't know, sweetheart.
It could be.
I don't know.
It's either a victim or he's trying to
perfect his
make
game.
notes to perfect his game.
Julie says, I'm kind
of thinking the latter.
I tried to tell my teacher when I was in elementary. She paddled me in front of my class saying I was lying. That's awful. Kids are taught that they're supposed to be able to go to their teachers and counselors and other adults when something like this has happened to them. Vivian says, victim from age 4 till 6. Then it stopped. We moved, never told anyone.
Jay said, Lucas is sick. I'm just a troll. I can respect I can respect that, Jay.
Okay, Jay. Sorry, guys.
That made me laugh. Sorry, man.
Sorry.
Jay says, I don't want to be put in the same same boat as this guy. I'm just a troll.
Let's differentiate. Let's make sure that we got this straight now. I'm just a
Appreciate
troll.
the laugh, Jay. Oh, man. I think I about cried on that one.
Debbie says, my granddaughter was at school when it happened to her.
I'm sorry, Jelaine. I actually could use that laugh, so forgive Jay, because I did already. I'm sorry.
Debbie says, my granddaughter was at school when it happened to her. She was 6 and it broke our hearts to watch her struggle for 10 years. She is now an adult and finally has a good guy and job, but it still lingers.
Yeah, and wounds heal over time, but the scar always remains.
Yes.
Sometimes that scar gets smaller. Sometimes it remains a large scar. You just got to hope that, this scar starts going away to where you barely see it anymore. Does that make sense?
Krista says, you can tell who they are. 90% of the people are people in our families and friend circles. Ron says, I tried to be a troll, but I failed.
I'm not very good at it either.
Julie says, thanks for having this conversation, Cheese.
It's important conversations to have. It really is. So many people want to keep that stuff inside. I mean, victims keep that stuff inside because they're afraid of being judged. If you haven't figured me out by now, I don't judge anybody. It's not my place to judge. But when you actually have these conversations and able to see other people letting it out, maybe that gives you the courage to
to tell your
to
story.
let some of that out yourself,
And
whether it be here or to somebody else.
And I think that's what's happening tonight. People feel safe, and they're able to talk and let things out without judgment. Cindy Chase says, I have my wife's swatter and so ready to whack Lucas. Papa Mike says, Trucker G, find Lucas and send him to me in Texas.
Eric Lowe says, I would not support or donate to any entity that approved bringing a gallows to the Capitol with the intention of executing officials, and I don't like Mike Pence at all. Yeah, I'm not really sure who wanted to bring the gallows.
She-J says, I didn't tell my mom until I was 40 years old. I kept it a secret from everyone. Eric Lowe says, okay, you read that. Cindy Chase says, sorry to say this, but I still blame myself. The what if I did someone else? Why did this happen to me? So I am glad we are here and listening to each other.
It's not your fault, sweetheart.
It's not your fault,
It's not your fault.
No.
We can all live our lives that way. What if I did this, or what if I did that?
You can't.
Hindsight's always 20/20. You did what you had to do to survive at the time. And when I say survive, I don't mean just survive physically, to survive mentally.
AZ Chick said, geez, you missed his last comment. Disgusting person, possibly a pedo for real.
Let me see.
I don't know.
Yeah, it went away. Yeah, I believe Lucas does have a lot of the traits of being a pedophile. Anybody that makes that kind of
comment to blame a child,
and in their sick, twisted head, they don't see nothing wrong with the comment that they made.
Shelley says, I didn't find out until after my mother passed that she was raped by her stepdad and impregnated. My grandma and her husband took the baby and raised him as their own. She wrote the baby boy I thought was my uncle, that she loved him and he was wanted. He was with me from the playpen until they killed him last year. He told me before he died, and I'm so sad that so many years went by without me knowing he was my brother. I'm 59. He was 3 years older. I miss him so much, and heartbroken he is gone, but glad that he is in hell, in heaven with our mother. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Fontaine says it happened to me in church.
Janice, no, I didn't see your comments.
I still have trouble going inside a church because of it. I'm sorry, honey. Eddie says, when I was in my sophomore year in college 50 years ago, I was gang raped. I didn't go back the next year because I was scared it would happen again. I'm so sorry.
KR just kind of brought up something that just really makes me mad, and it has for a while. So in California, if an abuser is 12 and the child is 2, no jail time because of the 10-year difference.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
I'm going to let that one go, but I'm right there with you, Kay. It's what I keep talking about, California setting laws, and they wind up being national law. We need to watch out for that one nationally, guys.
John says, when all you hear is mommy, daddy's killing him, and seeing the look on her face is why I stopped. Cheryl said, Sydney, love and patience, forgiveness. Hard to get there, but very helpful to victims. Janice says the other part of this is that spirits transfer. Some victims struggle with addictions to substances, pornography, and such. It's a vicious cycle. Anne says, by the time I was old enough to realize what was going on was wrong, I never told for fear no one would believe me.
You know, I really thought this was going to be like a whack-a-troll video, and it's turned into a whole lot more than that tonight. It seems like it's turned into... I don't even know how to explain
Everyone
it.
letting others know that have been a victim that they're not alone.
Educational and kind of a freeing video, to be honest with you. So many people coming out and letting others know that they're not alone.
Berdine says, I could find him in a heartbeat, and he keeps up
Therapy.
his shit.
Exactly, Paula.
He will be shut up for a very long time. Vicky says, I feel so much empathy for these victims. I am not a victim of sex crime, but other situation. I know how hard it is to let your pain be seen and tell your story. Thank you all that have spoken up tonight to let others know they are not alone.
So this is a lot of stuff that you don't see on social media. You know, everybody wants you to see the great things in life. You know, see their pictures of their family vacations where they're all smiling and having a good time, and they just got the perfect family, or they got the perfect life. Nobody has a perfect life. I've never met one person on the face of this planet that has a perfect life. And you're not going to meet nobody that has a perfect life. Nobody that has a perfect marriage. Nobody that has perfect kids, perfect job. There is no such thing as perfect. But when you go on social media, that's all you see is exactly what they want you to see, that perfect life. And when you watch TV, that's what you see is all these perfect people. And then we look at our lives and we say, what am I doing wrong? Because I don't have that kind of relationship with my spouse. We argue and we fight. All they do is love on each other. Guess what? We all argue and fight.
Cindy Chase says, Mac, thank you. That's why I love being on the G's and the G-Force. They all come together.
Cindy, I wasn't talking about God, but I was talking about people.
Turned into something we all needed, or something well needed for us.
Peggy says Mr. and Mrs. G are damn near perfect. No. Please don't ever even.
That is an expectation that we could never live up to.
I've done stupid 10 times over, probably 100 times over. Me and Mrs. G, we have her knockdown dragouts. Well, not really knockdown dragouts. I don't raise my hand at her, and she don't. Huh?
It's gotten. We've never actually physically.
She beats on me every so often.
But you know. We've gotten better at communication since we were younger. Stephanie says, I'm 61 and have never talked about and feel so guilty because I never told on those 4 men that did it to me. And I don't know how many other children they molested because I didn't tell anyone.
Still not your fault, sweetheart.
It's not your fault, babe. It's not your fault.
Still not your fault.
You were a child and you were scared.
Like I said, hindsight's always 20/20. We can always look back and think, what could I have done different? But you're never going to change what you did. Does it make what you did wrong or right or wrong? No. You did what you had to do to survive.
You were a child.
You were scared, and that's what children do. They get scared.
Bernice says the 12-year-old lives right around the corner from us. My nephew is 8 and the grandson was 9. This just happened 7/3/2022. I'm so sorry,
Sorry to hear that, sweetheart. My ears are plugged.
Vicky says, times are better than when my mother got...
I'm sorry, hold on. I don't want them to think I'm laughing at that. Your daughter says, trust me, they are far from perfect. If only y'all could hear how loud they snore.
Mook, I love you, baby.
It's all your mom. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Vicky says times are better than when my mother got raped by her aunt's husband. She told her mom, my grandma, but nothing happened. My mother died at 93, 3 years ago. She rarely talked about it. Found out that the same man raped some of her sisters and some cousins. If her mother, my grandmother, would have done something, many girls would not have gone through that.
But it's still not her fault. It's still not their fault. what we got to do is we got to teach others that it's okay to be a victim, to be able to come out, and you're not going to be ridiculed.
No,
and that's the problem.
Be ridiculed.
And that's kind of what we're talking about here. When we first started this, we were talking about people victimizing a victim, and that's what makes people get up into their shell and not want to come out.
They tuck into themselves.
And it's people like that are the problem right now. We need to let people know it's okay to come out. It's okay to come out. You need to come out to save others, so this doesn't happen to somebody else. It's not your fault. And that's what we have to instill into the children nowadays. It's not your fault. And if you do come out, you will be saving somebody else. And believe me, sometimes children are children. Sometimes they cry wolf also. I've seen that happen also. And that's not okay.
John says, the families are victims as well. This eats me up to this day. I'm sorry, sweetie. Beverly says therapy is what's happening. Dave says a healing trucker G. David Peltel Jr. said, actually, I don't believe that is correct for California. California actually has some of the most stringent laws in the country. The age of consent in many states and in California is 18.
Do me a favor, David. Look that up for me, would you, bud? David's really good at research.
Yes.
I don't want to speak too much on it without knowing about it. And like I said, David's real good at research.
Ashley said, stop blaming the victim.
Exactly.
It's exactly what it comes to, is stop blaming the victim, because the victim didn't ask for what happened to them. I don't think anyone would ask for that. Jeannie said, gee, God is good
KR
all the
says,
time.
no, not true about California.
We're a family.
Okay.
Can speak of the
KR,
unspeakable.
I think you're the one that said it. I was just agreeing with you because I had heard something about that.
We did hear something about that, and it's been a while since we had heard it. Michelle says, to all my fellow abused sweet souls, abuses children, we did nothing wrong, and we were with twisted adults. We have to love ourselves, be good to ourselves, and heal. Our children deserve all of us in their lives. I told the secret to many to protect others. Marge says it's becoming a therapy session, so needed.
Ashley said, Matt Man said Denise deserved what she got. We need a huge hammer for the trolls. I didn't see no Matt Man. I just don't think Matt Man got attention when he was a child, is what it was. And he's trying to get attention here.
Okay.
David said he'll text it to me. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Have Matt Man see the door. And thank you, Kentucky Redneck. Italian Princess says hugs to all victims / survivors.
Matt Man should have come on at the beginning of this, where he had his platform, but the videos kind of
too little, too late, buddy.
Took a whole turn for the different. You guys had your chance to do all your trolling in the beginning. This has become a whole lot more than a troll fest for me now. This has become a therapy session.
So if you come
I'm watching
on here
people come together here,
and you come sideways, this will be a night that you see the door, and quickly. Villa.
Maybe we'll have a
Volto
troll session again.
Says
In the future.
Can't
Tonight's
blame
not the night now.
yourself for someone else's evil deeds. John says, Carl, it's impossible to read every post, especially in a hot topic like this. Prayers up. I'm sorry, Carl, if I missed your.
Somebody asked if we were in the truck.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, we're in the truck.
Joan says, we've made a good out of a horrible situation with love and support tonight. I love you guys.
Cindy says, Frank G, what show were you watching to miss us? Joe Nagy, need positivity, not negative. You're right, Joe. That guy's just pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Joe.
Penny says, we'll never know how many people are victims. 338 on here tonight, and I'm blown away by how many victims or relatives of victims praying for healing.
How many other stories do you never hear about? And that's kind of what she's saying. You know?
Yeah. Lois says, love and prayers for all tonight. Tough conversation, but needed.
Somebody says, and that's what makes me so angry with Santa. He has no compassion for the victim. Artie Gillen said.
I don't know.
I don't think it has anything to do with him not having compassion for the victim. I can't speak for Santa, to be honest with you. But I think Santa's more of a pastor type, and he's more of a religious type. And in the Bible, it teaches us to forgive, right? And that's how his mentality is. He's willing to forgive. There's some things that I'm just not willing to forgive. I'm just going to tell you honest. You know, the Bible tells me to forgive. Some things I can't forgive. I just cannot forgive. Am I going to knock Santa for being more of a forgiving person than me? No, I'm not going to knock him for it. Personally, I don't have it in me. I apologize, but it's just me. You hurt a child, I got nothing for you. It's between you and God now.
Max says some things are unforgivable. John says therapy doesn't work that way. I watched as my daughter and my wife both shut down, and daughter wouldn't even talk or change the subject. Wife wouldn't go, and both blame me to this day.
You know, when you go to, let's just say, the priest goes to prisons, and they don't pick and choose. And pastors, you know, don't have to necessarily be a priest. Priests and pastors, they go to prison, and they'll preach, and they'll sit down with the prisoners, and they don't pick and choose who they do it with. They say, "Oh no, you had this, you were convicted of this. No, I can't talk to you." They don't do that, do they? Does that kind of let you see more where he's coming from, I guess? That's how I look at it, you know what I mean? Do I agree with the decision that he made? No, I don't agree with it. Is it my place to make the decision? No, it's not my place to make the decision. Do I look at Santa any different? No, absolutely I don't look at Santa no different. He's still the same man that I met. He's still got the same compassion for people that he had when I met him. Does that mean he don't care about the victim? No, it don't mean he don't care about the victim. He just sees things different than he sees things from a spiritual point of view, is how I look at it.
Crazy Robin says, unfortunately, these people have to fit into society still. They are free. If we want them to die after this crime, we have to pass laws. Otherwise, they do their time and are back out.
He's just more of a godly man than I am, because I tell you what, there's some things I personally, and it's my own fault, I can't forgive, and I'm not going to forgive. I guess I'll have to answer to God when it comes my time.
Berdine says, I can't be in a relationship with anyone that doesn't respect what I'm about. And Lord knows that there is a boatload of crap people out there. Karen says, prayers to all. I was abused by my real father's family
Amy says
member.
he shows grace. Thank you, Amy. Some people could just say it better than I can, you know.
Jeannie says, I'll forgive, not forget.
You know, like I said, us as people, we all have flaws, and I'm telling you right now, I'm more than flawed.
Jackie says, I tried so hard to understand why a father would molest his biological daughter. I was 10, still blows me away. My mom tried to tell me he loved me when he passed.
Sure, that happens, sweetheart.
Rhonda says, thank you for having this conversation. Albert says, I will never forgive someone that does something or anything, the kids, my sister's been missing for over a year, and we still can't find her. I pray that you can, sweetheart. I pray that you find her.
I'm going to butcher the name. Leas? Okay, folks, I'm dealing with this now. I am 58. I am dealing with this now. I am 58. How do you overcome this? I'm in counseling, been over 6 years. How does one move on? Just by repeatedly talking. And that's about the only thing you're going to be able to do, sweetheart. You're not going to forget what happened. But that's how you heal, is by talking through it. By getting those emotions out and not bottling them up.
Because bottling them up is not good for you, sweetheart. Maybe talk to other...
And you just got to know it's not your fault.
And maybe also, talk to other victims / survivors. I think that would help out as well.
The wrist hurts.
Ivan Diaz says, "Oh, I can't forgive. My Catholic preacher said I couldn't go to church if I didn't work it out with my husband instead of divorce. I found out he almost got stabbed, but he got arrested first." Cheryl says, "You have to know, we victims are many." They said, "Oh, I can't forgive. My Catholic preacher said I couldn't go to church if I didn't work it out with my husband instead of divorce. I found out he almost got stabbed, but he got arrested first."
I don't understand. What did he do?
I think he might have been the one that victimized her.
You might want to look for another priest.
Yes.
Because there's some things... The Catholic religion doesn't believe in divorce. But there's some things that you have the grounds for divorce. And there can be an annulment within the Catholic religion. I would look into a different priest.
Mary says, "Have no family now because of my family is transgender. My granddaughter might get body rip up, child abuse. She wants to be a man at 14.
I think a lot of our children are very confused. And we have the media, and we have Hollywood, and we have indoctrination within the schools to blame a lot of it on.
Jennifer says, "When this happened to you, your family doesn't believe you. Think you're lying. My life changed. I can't watch any of my abuse at all. My stepdad hurt me. My mom knew hurting me. Won't stop him. I had nothing to do her either. I had to tell my husband what they did to me before you marry him. It's hard. I did. My life changed. It was this that happened to me. My stop that right now. I'll talk to my kids if I didn't do what he said. Thank God he is dead. Now is my name. I have been to therapy for a long time. I can talk about it. Before it was really hard. I'm okay now." I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Rhonda said, "I have always had a soft place in my heart for little ones and the elderly because they can't defend themselves. I used to work in a nursing home and I saw how some of the nurses would treat. I was a nurse's aide." Linda says, "I wish it was not brought up at all. It's a pain thing to talk about."
Oh, you mean tonight's subject?
I'm not sure.
If that's what you're talking about, Linda. Sometimes you have to feel the pain in order to heal. Sometimes after a wound happens, it hurts more than it's going to hurt for a while before the healing happens, and we can't just cover it up and expect it to go away, because it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away.
Ivan Diaz says, "I went from being abused by my grandpa, then married a POS. He molested my daughter. I found out and almost stabbed him. They wanted me to forgive." I understand now, sweetheart. Jillian says, "Drummer 65, if you are bored, leave." I didn't see what Drummer said. Drummer said, "All in all, it's just he's he's quoting song lyrics. Autumn says, I too went into a mental health care field. It is amazing how many victims are out here. I didn't feel so alone anymore.
Carl says a lot of gays are mad with what the drag queens and crap going on. I don't judge anybody for their lifestyle. I mean, if you want to be a drag queen, that's your right. I mean, you know, to each his own. Now, gender identity for a child,
let them be children.
Let them be children. Stop indoctrinating them.
Charlene says,
and I don't care if you get a gender change or not. If you're born with a penis, you're a boy. If you're not born with a penis, you're a girl.
Charlene
you can
says,
put whatever you want in your pants. You're not going to change it. You still have the same chromosomes.
Charlene says, prayers for everyone on here tonight. Love you all. It's good night for me. Stay safe, everyone. Good night, sweetheart. You get you some rest. David says, my wife was raped by her biological father when she was 6. She still struggles with it at times today. It never goes away. Just learn to talk about it. It helps. Give Roy a hug for us, Dave.
But I mean, if you want to go have the surgery, I was reading some of the other comments. If you want to go have the surgery and get it done, I mean, that's up to you. I mean, do I care? It's none of my business. Just don't force it on the kids and indoctrinate our children. Let them be kids. If you want to change your identity later, that's up to you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to treat you just like I would normally. You're still a person. As long as you're not forcing me to do anything, what do I care?
Julie says, good night, or good night all. Thank you for the therapy session. Good night, sweetheart. You get you some rest. Allie says, Trucker G. Whoa. That rolled on me. I don't know if I'm able to find it.
Penny, and you're right, I read half your comment there, Penny, and you're exactly right with the Catholic religion and with adultery, and you've got grounds. I didn't finish the rest of it.
Allie says, Trucker G doesn't support pedos. I know, but he still supports Santa. Cheryl says, you can't heal until we face it. Carl C.
If you're there for the right reason, I mean, if Hampton and the rest of them were actually there for the right reason, I'd probably support them also. But I've seen what they've done.
Jeannie says, when you are hurting, find a hand to hold. Denise says, most abusers were abused themselves. They think it's okay. I was a victim and became a counselor. That is my way of healing myself and others.
You know, in trucking, we've got the, what is it, LGBTQ?
Yes, LGBTQ. I think that, I'm not sure, I don't want to butcher
LGBTQT, I think it is. But there's a community, and
yes,
there's some of the truckers that are just fine with it. Some are not fine with it.
They're good people.
And some just don't care. And I'll tell you what, I met them up at Matt's, and
yes,
I walked right up to them and gave them a hug. You know,
they've got a
because
nice house too.
They're people just like us.
Yes,
people are people. We got to stop judging others for their decisions in life. What I do have a problem is when you do it to the kids. You do what you want of us as an adult. That's between you and God and you and your household. We got to stop judging others and worrying about what others are doing that doesn't affect us.
Reba says, I don't know if this is still live. It says it is.
Yeah, well, we're still live.
You have to truly give it to God. He is the only one who can heal you.
Stephanie says QRSTU, blah, 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 blah.
You forgive for yourself, not for them. Stop taking it back and turning it over to God. Or stop taking it back and turning it over to God. You will have such peace when you finally do this.
Carl says, geez, I got a lot of respect for you for having a chat like this. Most places it's a no-no. A lot of people steer away from conversations like this, and I understand why, because it's a touchy subject. Sometimes we have to talk about touchy subjects. I think that's part of the problem in this nation is we skate around touchy subjects, instead of having rational conversations.
Drummer, I know, hun. You've been with us for a long time. I think Drummer is he's just being Drummer. Eeyore's mom says, you guys are so awesome and a shining light for so many.
Kim says, Ellie is a troll. I didn't see what Ellie's comment was, so she's not doing a very good job of it.
Jenna says, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a boy because they could stand up and pee. That phase passed.
Well, how cool is it that you can write your name, right?
In the snow, mind you. If you're talented as a woman, you can do it. Penny says, same for the Christian church as far as divorce. There are reasons you can divorce. Find another priest.
Yes.
Les says, it's hard. It is so hard because the nightmares are just ungodly. And to this day, I pray God would remove me from this earth.
No,
Sweetheart,
no. Never think that, sweetheart.
You are loved. Mook says, hurt my babies and it will be the last thing you do.
You won't have to worry about that,
No,
Mook,
will not.
because you already know I'll take care of that.
Vivian says, never told anyone. All parties are deceased. So it's me living with what's left. I'm so sorry, honey. Tammy says, I prayed to Jesus to heal my wounds, and it took from 1976 to 2004 of anger, drugs, abuse to complete peace now. Thanks, Jesus.
Ashley says, I'm just honestly mentally exhausted from it.
I know, babe. I know.
I get you, sweetheart.
Red says, we need more stand-up men in this sit-down world. Stand firm and never back down, G.
Yeah, if you haven't figured out, I'm just pretty blunt and honest. And that's what you're going to get. What you see is what you get with me.
Cheryl Ashley's just, it's taking a toll on her, honey.
Mary says, Mr. and Mrs. G, were you able to fix your tire? Well, yeah, we ended up putting another tire on here. And my Lord, I was astonished by how much tires have gone up. I'm not even going to tell you what it cost.
Cindy Chase says, what I did learn
Or
is...
did I already earlier? No, I didn't.
I don't think so. What I did learn is my husband and I are so open with our young adult kids. We talk about everything sexual. Back in the day, parents wouldn't talk to me. Here's a book.
Yeah.
My mom, that was
Mary's
not a
mom's
subject.
like that.
No, she didn't talk about that. Mom and Dad did not talk about that.
Well, there's age appropriate conversations also.
Yes. Chachi Owen says, I'm a trucker also, but new to the channel. What are we talking about? We're having...
Not really about a trucking issue right now.
No.
So, my apologies if you're going to come on here for a trucking issue. Well, it is. Because for us, trucking is life. Life is trucking. And we've got to talk about daily life. Right now, we're talking about child abuse.
And Chachi, welcome to the channel.
Yes. Hon. And you never know where the conversation is going to go here, Chachi.
Barbara says, Trucker G and Mrs. G, I was a domestic violence survivor. After 33 years, I still have a hard time.
Hellraiser says 1776 affects all of us. I don't understand where you're coming from with that.
Sandy says, there has been so much hate towards 1776, and tonight was finally a peaceful night for them with paybacks peacefully.
Annie says, my guess it was around 500 per tire. I wish. Because that's what I was thinking it was going to be. That's what it used to be.
Charming says, nightmares are just your brain finally dealing with reality. It's actually a good thing. Keep going through it till you get to the other side. Michelle says, I love the
I don't understand where we're going. It's not all that. I think some people miss the point of this conversation. It's not about just 1776, and it's about the way our world is becoming. I'm just use them as an example.
Michelle says,
And it's not 1776. It's the people across the street. It's all of it.
Michelle says, I love the G's and G-Force talks. They're very therapeutic.
It was more than that, Bernine.
Mary says,
you would die if you seen that
cringe
receipt.
at
Yes.
how much that one steer tire cost. Oh, Debbie said, "Grr, got the boot, LOL." You're back, sweetheart. Beverly says, never give that memory power over what your future can be.
Pam says, claim you're a survivor and not a victim.
Jeannie says, y'all are amazing. God brought me for a reason. Thank you. We're very blessed to have y'all. Daniel says, Mook, you are safe. We protect you.
Let me guess, G, 5,000. No, it was less than that.
Daniel, Mook can protect herself. Frank G. Trek says 1776 needs term limits. LOL.
My stairs were $1,100 each. Joe said. Well, I don't feel so bad now, Joe.
No,
Mine was,
my
it was
goodness, Joe.
$858 for one steer tire.
I thought that was expensive.
$1,100. Man, alive.
Yours Mama says mine costs $500 a piece. Chachi says, LOL, how to replace 3 tires same day and get 5th wheel chock fixed. Max said $375.
That's another thing I wanted to thank you guys about. You guys kept telling me when we got the 5th wheel, check those tires, G. Check them tires, make sure they got good tires. And I really checked them tires out good, which I knew better anyway.
Yeah.
But it got so close, and I thought, you know what? I made them put a new set of tires on it. So they had orders set, so we got to take the 5th wheel down. And
when we go home, they've got to put new skirts on it and 6 new tires.
Yeah.
Beth says, you're right. I priced tires too today. They are high cost these days.
Dorna, yeah, it came out of pocket. Frank says, I paid $6.56 a piece for Firestone steers today, and I get a really good deal. I think what the difference was, Frank, is the load rating on them. The ones that I had, they were 16 ply and not the 14 ply, and that's the only sense I could make out of it.
Beth says, I was abused as a child too. I'm so sorry, honey.
Sorry to hear that, sweetheart.
Brandy says, I was wondering how we got on the subject. A lot of people do not realize child abuse actually can start with pregnant moms, drink, and drugs. Chris says, thank you, G's, for the stream. It's letting a lot open up and heal a little. Every little bit helps. Ash, you have a lot of us behind you. Love you. Stephanie says, such a touchy subject. Been raped. My mom's boyfriend did inappropriate things to me. I have seen my mom threaten to cut him from ear to ear, blood running down his neck. My dad is in prison for being a pedophile. People recently called to me a pedophile because he is. People are crazy, and Jesus has held me through it all. Sue says, okay, I'm back from YouTube. Need to come back home to Facebook after short break.
Lone Cup, Frank says that Lone Cup. Very good point. People need to know this. What Lone Cup
Lone Cup says, always check the manufacturer date on the sidewall. So many people do not know about that and wind up getting dry rot tires.
Yes.
Darlene Chandler says, good night, G's and family. Love you all. Good night, sweetheart. Love you too.
Yeah, you go and buy some used tires. Get some older tires and get a real good deal on tires. And go, look how much meat. That's a brand new tire. And you're exactly right. You get an old tire and it don't last. And you put that on your steer. And now you're taking your life and everybody else's life in your hands. So good point, Lone Cuff.
Was that Calla?
Yeah.
From California. Much love to everyone in here. May you turn your hearts into halos and your scars into stars.
I like that.
Oops. Cindy says, Mr. G, what would make my hubby's truck lose air? Heat and condensation on windshield. Have to use a bounty to wipe inside windshield. Scary. Not good driving. Truck lose air, heat, and condensation.
You talk about losing the AC.
Yeah, I'm guessing air and heat, so air conditioning and hanging.
The evaporator's probably freezing up.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Shar says, Mr. and Mrs. G, I got good news from my ear doctor today. The skin graft worked. It closed the hole in my ear. Thank you for the prayers. Love you guys. Love you too.
Good place
that
to start on.
Great news,
Good place to start on that one is make sure that your filters are clean. He lost his AC and yes to all. Yeah, more than likely building up condensate or building up frost on
It froze up.
on the condenser. Correct me if I'm wrong, Frank.
Mary says, I was abused in my family until I met my husband.
Or even lone cuff.
And it was a family member. I'm so sorry, honey.
Bernine's to check your air conditioner filter. Yeah, I think that's what I just said too. Yeah. Bernine's been doing this a day or two herself.
Bernine says, I got this. Sheila said, God bless you, Mr. and Mrs. G. God bless you guys. Daisy Duck says, Nick and I had to torque the bolts on our little guy, Mini-Max. Two old people sitting on the ground with a wrench trying to do this. They had a recall. Instead of taking it in, we did it ourselves.
Max's filters.
Frank says, Lone Cuff, important note, there is no tire made with a speed rating over 75 miles per hour. None.
It's kind of what we were just talking about. You never know where the conversation's going to go on here. I think it's kind of nice to bring it back down a little bit, guys. We've had a pretty good therapy session tonight. Let's end on a lighter note. And just know we're all here for each other.
That's right. Whenever you think you're alone, you're not. You're definitely not. Sydney Chase says, thank you. Think that was his thought.
Andrew says, not sure your support of Oreo, but you support him. Bitch slap in his words. Someone in a wheelchair that wanted to fight him. Andrew, I wasn't there. I didn't watch the video, so I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Know nothing about that.
Frank G. Truck said, tires are serious, man. LOL. Mary says, get back basics. No more imports. Max says, tonight's convo was perfect. We are
I do believe
all
in
full of love.
I do believe in treating people equally, though. I mean, if somebody in a wheelchair wants to fight, then I'll sit in a wheelchair and we'll just make it even. We'll just play wheelchair derby. How's that? I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened. It's none of my business.
Michael says, thermostat sensor on the coil, maybe. Chris says, hope the awesome G's are having a fabulous evening in California. My cousins are from Corona, California. Papa Mike says, at Trucker G, gotta go for now. Past my bedtime. LOL. You all have a good night. You too, Papa Mike. You get you some rest, honey. Dermer says, pull up into my shop. I got you. $150 to recharge the AC. Wendy A says, appreciate you both and all. We appreciate you guys. Restless Dream says, hello there. Well, hello.
Mrs. G, check your messages. Mandy is messaging you. Mrs. G, check your messages per Mandy.
Mook's worried. She said, do me a favor, keep live PG tonight. I know it's after dark, but my boss is watching.
You never know what's going to happen, girl.
This is not. This
so
was
Mook's
not
boss,
after.
I'm just going to warn you now. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
Disclaimer: we go in any direction.
Conversation can go just about anywhere. And good to see you.
Nice to see you, Head. And yes, we're Mook's crazy parents. KR says, whoa, that rolled. I lost it.
Michelle Brandon said, wheelchair races. There you go.
Avidia says, my handicap scooter tires are $106 for one. It's insane. I afford one, My whip looks like it belongs in a junkyard now. LOL.
I was looking at some of them scooters, and they had a really cool one that looked like a 56 Chevy hood. I told Miss G, I want one of them.
I was going to post it as G's new whip, but I forgot to.
I'm pretty envious. I want one.
Ash says, doing okay, trying to get the oldest to bed. He thinks he's being slick. Oh, he's trying to pull that. I'm not tired. Get him, Ash. Get him. Deborah says, thanks, G's. Great show. I got on late, but it was a good show. Love you guys. We love you guys.
I think we're going to call it a night, guys. My back's kind of starting to hurt me. Tell you what, my wrist really hurts.
It's because
things all puffed up.
I was actually on the phone with our oldest, Laylee, and he comes back in the truck.
They can't really see it.
And Lay's like, what happened? I said I let him outside. She goes, you know better than that.
I don't know if you can see it.
I said the tire fell on his wrist.
It's got a big old knot on it.
Right here. You can feel it, the muscles all
Yeah, I'm crying a river.
inflamed.
David, we close on the house on the 15th.
Yeah. City Chase says, Frank G, how's the stripper pole? Are you nailing it yet? Haha. Dave.
Nikki says nothing wrong with Oreo. No, I love Oreo. I mean, he's a friend. I call him a friend, and once I call you a friend, you're a friend.
Yes. Brandy says, good night. Love y'all. Love you too, hon. Cynthia says, by the way, who was after you guys? No, G said that someone was out to get him, meaning me, because
She's
I
trying
gave
to kill
him
me.
My sickness.
I was feeling just fine in the
That's what he gets for swapping spit with me while I'm sick. Lone says, I seen your arm is swollen above your wrist. Ouch.
Yeah.
See? Jen says, OMG, he is related to Ashley. They need bubble wrap. I know, right, Jen? Frank G. Truck says, I hope you kept that tire. You can run it out on a trailer.
My problem is I don't know where I'm going to put the dang tire. This trailer don't have a spare tire rack, and the load I'm picking up is a sealed load, and I don't know if they'll let me put it back there.
Penny says, thank you for caring and having a place for people to share their feelings. Love you guys. Love you too, sweetheart. Jillian said, ice it, G.
I'm going to wrap some. Never mind. I just filtered. Are you proud of me?
Go to bed. Love you guys.
Soaking in cider.
Good night. And maybe Mook, your boss, can catch an actual G's After Dark. Just saying. I don't know which one of you is Mook's boss, but we'd love to have you on a G's After Dark.
I just kind of ended with an after dark statement.
Love you guys.
You didn't even hear it, did
No,
you?
I'm ignoring you.
All
Love
right.
you. Bye.
Love you guys.